Hello and welcome, my name's Ryan, I'm also known as RM2K Dev. Now in this video, this is going to be a huge one. We are doing the boss fight. Now I uploaded a video earlier which was basically showing the map that I'd created in RPG Maker, which was this map here. Now basically the premise of this is there's going to be 4 gems standing atop these 4 pedestals here. There's going to be a boss in the room and he's going to be spawning in those little guys. Now sorry, the plant monsters. Now I really haven't actually planned how I'm going to do this video, so this may come out terribly, it may come out really well. I'm hoping it comes out really well, so let's just jump in and start. So I think the way we're going to tackle this is I've already set up the world. So in my game, you guys will need to create a map of your own if you like. I've already created mine here. I'm just going to delete those 2 objects there. They were legacy. I've brought the map in as a bunch of tiles. I've set up the collisions, and I've also set up some warps. Now the one thing I did is, obviously we don't want to have to walk all the way from the city, all the way down, all the way up, over into this cave over here. So what I've done is I've set from our city, I've set this left warp here to take you directly to the front of the cave. Now you guys can do it however you like. You can walk there and fight the monsters every time, but we're going to be doing a lot of debugging, so we're going to be jumping back and forth between maps to test things out and things like that. So I just wanted some quick ways to get around, so I'll just give you guys a quick look at the map in action. So what you'll see, I'll take you the long way. So basically we had the monsters, they're shooting at us, and these are going to be the guys that the boss spawns. This boss is going to be Z-Bob, by the way. He's making a return. So yeah, basically you've made your way, you've fought all the monsters in this forest, you've collected all the loots, and you've leveled up, and you've done all your stuff. So we're skipping all of that because, you know, that stuff's been covered in videos 1,000 times. I don't really think I need to explain to you guys how to do a basic experience system. And if I do need to explain it, then I'll probably make some separate videos later on that sort of stuff. So yeah. So basically, yeah, we're just going to go into this here, and this is the map that I've created. Oh, I've left something here. I'll erase that in a second. But basically, yeah, you get the idea. You come in here, and this is the map. So yeah, I've added all the collisions. You can't go to places that you can't go. You can walk over this seat. That's fine. But yeah, you can't get into any places that you shouldn't be able to get into. That's pretty much it for this section. We've also got that warp event back out. Again, you can't really touch any of this stuff on the sides here, but you can leave the map. So a quick demo of what I'd set up. So from the main city at the top here, this bottom left warp here, I've configured it to go straight to this warp here, so that we can just jump straight in and start doing our coding and things like that straight away without any fuss, no problems. So I think that pretty much covers the intro. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is just going to erase that thing over there. That's bugging me. That's a historic thing there, and I'll just pull that out of the way. There we go, and that's done. So all the collisions have been pulled back in here. We've got the hero start event. The room's slightly too big, but that's fine. I'll shorten it a little bit. Let's just say 1,000. Yeah, 1,000 will do, and just make this 640. No, 680. No, 720. No, 800. Let's try just 800. 830. There you go. That'll do. Close enough. You're not going to see any of that stuff from the room anyway. So, all right. So bosses. This is going to be Z-Bob. Z-Bob has grown. He originally was a clone of Bob from the very first video in this series, or maybe the second video. I can't remember. But basically, now he's grown. He's now Z-Bob, the evil overlord. So let's just create a folder, and we're going to call this boss, or bosses if you want. If you want to have multiple bosses, you can add as many bosses as you like. I'm going to create a sprite. I'm going to call this sprite Z-Bob. Z-Bob 2, just because I can't remember if I have a Z-Bob in here somewhere. Bob. No, I don't. I've got rid of Z-Bob. But anyway, Z-Bob OL. Z-Bob Overlord, so it's Z-Bobble now. Anyway, so we're just going to bring him in, create from strip. I'm just using a character that I grabbed off of Open Game Art. I do not remember who it was from, but yeah, 3 forms. Look it up. It's really nice. sprite. So this is Z-Bob. This is Z-Bob now. Look how hardcore he is. He starts off as the Overlord Z-Bob, then he becomes Z-Bob with a lot of weapons, and then he becomes Z-Bob the Bloody Tree Man thing. So they're going to be his 3 forms. I don't know if we'll do the whole 3 forms thing. I'm just going to bring the first sprite in for now. So that looks like it's maybe 96 pixels wide. No, maybe 72, 78, 79, 80. There we go. 80 pixels wide by 96 high. Nope. 106. Just count up until it looks right. 110. There you go. It's 80 by 110. Bang. We have Z-Bob. I'm going to center that sprite. That's sprite Z-Bob LOL. The next thing we need to do is probably create a group called bosses. And I'm going to add another group under that, and we're going to call this the cave, because this is the first cave in our game. Now we need a group like this because we're going to have a lot of moving parts in this. We're going to have we need a controller, so we need something that's going to control the flow of this map, because this is a special map. It's going to be almost a completely separate game in its own right, basically. So we need a group to store all of that information. So inside of that group, I'm going to add the boss. So just a boss folder, and then under that, I'm going to add an object. I'm going to call this boss object underscore boss underscore Z-Bob. Forgot to capitalize that. Now I'm going to give him the sprite that we just created, Z-Bob OL. That stands for Overlord. And let's just begin placing him in the map and see what happens. There he is. Let's place him there. Now he's a big one. He's going to be pretty big, and we're just going to leave him up here near this. I'm holding down the Alt key so that I don't snap, because we don't want him to snap. It's going to look a bit weird. Oh, actually, no, I want him to center him myself. I think I can make him look centered a bit better. There we go. Because don't forget, he's not centered on a power of 32, I don't think. Or a multiple of 32, or whatever you want to call it. So that's Z-Bob in the map. Now, like I said, the way this is going to work, there's going to be 4 crystals up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're going to light up red or whatever. They're going to glow, and then they're going to shoot a laser beam at you while Z-Bob's trying to kill you. So it's just going to make this even harder. And to top that off, as soon as you enter this arena, you're going to be locked. There's going to be a big gate blocking your way here, and you're not going to get past that. It's stopping you from getting out. So we've got Z-Bob on the map. The next thing I think we'll do is those crystals. So under the, we got a folder. Just go under objects, and then under misc, or for miscellaneous. I'm going to add a new sprite. It's going to be called sprite gem. Edit the sprite again. I've got another asset from DeviantArt, sorry, from that website where you get game assets from. Open Game Art. Here you go. It's by Clint Bellinger, CC3. So credits to Clint. Sorry, I think I said Chris. Credits to Clint there. Fantastic gem sprites here. So I'm just going to use that diamond actually, and we're going to color it red. So I'm going to position this across 1 and 2. That is going to give us that diamond. There we go. I'm just going to transform that until it's red, because we're looking for a red diamond. We're looking for a red. There we go. We've got that sort of red color. Just do that. There we go. That's more of a pink diamond, but that'll do. It doesn't matter. Center that sprite. It's our gem. I'm going to add another group. I'm going to call this, what do we call this group? Let's call it enemy. No, not enemies, because we already have enemies in the map. Let's call it misc, because it is under misc. Create an object. Object underscore evil underscore gem. You can call that whatever you like. I'm just calling it evil gem because I couldn't think of anything better. Let's bring that sprite in. So that was under object, misc, sprite, evil gem. Now, on our map, let's place those gems where they need to go. So we've got gem number 1. Now, it doesn't look quite right because it's not positioned properly, so I'm just going to position that manually myself until we get that to look really good. I don't think you can actually center this sprite, but that's going to do for now. Let's position number 2. just like that. Position number 3, just here like that. That's gonna do. And oh shit, I mean crap. Sorry kids, I mean crap. And number 4 we're gonna place like that. I wonder what it would look like if we snapped it. No, needs to be positioned manually. You can spend a bit more time and align those up perfectly, but basically they're going to be the 4 gems. The next thing we need is another sprite, and this is going to be the sort of glow in the background. So I'm going to make this one here, because sprite gem underscore glow. Edit the sprite. I'm going to draw this one from scratch. It's just going to be 42 by 42. And basically all it's going to be is a transparent red glow. Just like that. Actually, maybe a little bit more. Let me just see if my brush fits. No, it doesn't. No. We need a brush that fits perfectly, so maybe a bit more. Now, we may actually need to increase the size of that canvas. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to add a new one. Let's make it 64 by 64. Let's try that. There we go. And I just want to click right in that center bit there. Yeah, that'll do perfectly. So grab a nice red color, any red that you like. Let's set the opacity down a little bit and just click in the center there, just like that. So this is going to be what glows behind the sprite when it's ready to fire a laser at you. I'm going to center that as well. The other thing we need to do is come into our attacks folder. We need to create a new sprite for a new attack. We're going to call this sprite laser. I think that's with an S, not a Z. Again, 32 by 32 pixels. Zoom right in on that, and I'm just going to create a little rectangle. No, not like that. A little rectangle, please, Game Maker. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to create a line. It's going to be... I don't have any... There we go. A little line. Just 2 like that, and I might put some darker colors on the outside as well, just to make it a bit... No, not like that. I'm just trying to get some nice colors. Maybe, yeah, there we go, lighter color. There we go, that's going to be our laser. That's pretty much what they're going to shoot at us. You could animate that if you wanted to. It's completely up to you guys. You can stretch it out to make it a bit longer as well. That might work. So that's going to be the laser. So we need a door. Actually, we need a door. So when you enter this area here, this door appears. So let's do that. Now I think I've forgotten to chop out the door, which I have. So let me just undo my edits here in Photoshop. This is the door I'm going to be using. I placed this in RPG Maker basically off the side. I placed it here to fit it first, and then I copy pasted it over to the side just so that I'd be able to come back later and grab that out just like this, create a new image, zoom in on it, and we're just going to get rid of that. Just get rid of the black with our magic select tool, if I could find it. There it is, magic selection. Zero tolerance, because we don't want any of that anti-aliasing either. Turn that off. You don't want that. Get rid of this. And turn contiguous off as well. There we go. There we go. So now all we're left with is that door. Copy paste that to a new layer, and you have a 96 by 64 pixel image of a door. So I'm going to save that as a separate sprite in my pictures game stuff library as a PNG file. I'm going to call this gate. There we go. So I'm just going to bring that into Game Maker. We should have a gate file. Oh crap. Oh, there it is. Let's bring that in as a sprite. I want to drop that under MISC as well. We'll call this sprite gate, SPR gate. And don't center this one because we need to align this to the 32 by 32 grid as well. So in our MISC event, we need to create an object. We're going to call this object underscore gate, and it needs to have that same sprite. So let's go to sprite gate. There it is. Now this one uses physics. It is a box shaped collision. It has no density. So set all those parameters as I just mentioned there, because this one we want the player to be able to collide with this. We might be able to get around doing that by maybe parenting it to the collision base easier. Might work for us if I have a look in system. Yeah, that might actually work a bit easier for us. I think that'll work easier if we set those settings anyway and then just go to parent and then select system object collision. So basically this parents it to the collision event, and basically makes it into a collidable wall, so the player will collide with it, since we're already colliding with those objects. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place that into the level here in the correct spot. So that's where the gate will appear. Now it already is there, but we're going to enable and disable it as we need it, basically. So its default state will be not enabled. Now I'm not sure if visible does that for us in Game Maker, so I'm going to try it. I'll set it not to visible. We'll run the game, we'll jump in there, and we'll see if we collide with that gate. If we don't collide with the gate, that's fantastic news for us. If we do collide with the gate, then we may need to implement some other sort of solution. Yeah, we need to implement another solution here because we are colliding with this gate. So the first thing we do is we just turn visible back on, add a create event, and in our code I'm just going to say phy underscore in active equals false. Now this basically disables the physics system for this object, only temporarily for the moment. From here we basically probably want to get some sort of trigger area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to system. We've got these collisions here. I'm going to duplicate the enemy collision one. I'm going to call this sprite underscore event underscore collision. Let's change the hue of that a little bit. Let's just go with a green one. It's going to be easy for us to know. There we go. And I'm going to create a new object in our MISC folder, and I'm going to call this here, what should we call this? We should call this one here start. We'll call this object start boss, and we'll give it that sprite as well, from system collisions sprite event collision. Now back on our map for the cave, we need to place that just above the gate. Game state. So I'm just trying to remember where I put it. Our game's getting quite large now. There you go, MISC start boss. There it is. So I'm going to place it up here. So if I placed it here, as soon as the player hits that, the gate would appear, physics would become enabled, and we'd probably get locked in the gate. So if we place it up here, just like this, the player will never actually be able to get into the map without passing this, for one. And for two, as soon as the player touches this, when the gate becomes active, we will no longer be touching the gate, and we shouldn't get trapped in that collision zone. So basically the flow is, you come in, you walk up, you touch this pad here, the gate basically enables itself, and suddenly you're locked in this room here. Alright, so from here, let's actually get that gate working now. So the gate starts off invisible, so we'll set visibility to false. Gate visible is false. Actually no, we'll leave it visible. We'll set image alpha to 0. Image underscore alpha equals 0. So it's disabled, but its alpha is set to 0. In our step event, let's just add a step event here, and we'll have we'll query on phy active. So we'll bring a code event in here. We'll say if it's active, then we want to linear interpolate, so that lerp function again. We want to go image underscore alpha equals linear interpolate, so lerp image alpha, so if whatever it's at, to 1.0, because that's maximum. We want to go there at a speed of, say, 0.1, so the gate will fade in rather than just bang. Won't just appear, it'll fade in nicely. Now in our start boss collision event, we need to say uses physics. Its density doesn't matter. Does it? Yeah, it does matter. Doesn't matter. We'll leave it. We'll tick the sensor box, change the shape to a box, and also adjust the collision shape itself so that it matches. And add a collision event with the party object hero. Inside of the code event for the collision object with object hero, we need to say object obj, not g, object underscore gate dot phy active equals true. So now we enable the physics on that gate, which inherently in turn begins this linear interpolation of the alpha channel for that sprite, and the gate should fade in when we touch that pad. Let's give that a shot and see if that works. Okay, so that hasn't worked. Let's find out why that's not working. Let's just move around it and make sure that the physics shape actually is isn't like, you know, over here or something like that. Ooh, Z-Bob looks scary. Alright, let's check our code out and see what we've done. Maybe we've done something wrong. The first step for debugging, now this is a good tutorial for debugging as well. We just add a show debug message in here and just say collided. And this is going to tell us whether or not the actual collisions are working, you know, so if we actually are colliding with that player. Because if that's not working, we need to look at these physics property settings and maybe even our hero settings. Yep, so what you'll see in our console down here is that it says collided. The interesting thing to note is that the collision system is actually now working on this gate because we've set PHY active to true. So that leads me to believe that there's a problem with our alpha channel interpolation. So we want to go from image alpha, which is currently set to 0. Yeah, so set to 0. We want to go from image alpha to 1 at the speed of 0.1. Let's just add a proper query in here. Say if it's true, like that. And what we'll do is we'll say else show debug message. And that's going to say not visible or visible. Let's give that a shot and see what that does. Okay, so it changes to visible. It is actually changing to visible, but it's not becoming visible anymore. So let's have a look at our numbers here. Let's add this image alpha plus string image alpha. So now we're going to be able to see what the image alpha value is. I probably should have done that first, saved a bit of time, but let's just have a quick look. Right, so you can see those going up to 1, but the image still isn't appearing. So let's I wonder if it's 255. What we'll do now is we'll just add a image alpha equals 255. We'll see what that does first. Okay, it's definitely not showing that picture anymore. So I'm going to pause the video, I'm going to figure out what's going on, and I'll come back and show you guys what the fix was. Okay, apologies for that. I figured out what happened. Because the gate inherited from this collision object, which has a physics draw debug inside of the draw event, it was bypassing the default draw sprite for the gate itself. So we need to add a draw self above physics draw debug if you want to see those debug things. Let's just set everything back to how it was. So image alpha is 0 in the create event, and it gets linear interpolated up to 1 at a speed of 0.1, and we can also get rid of these debug commands now as well that I used for quickly checking out what was going on. So let's quickly jump in and have a look at that. So the gate, you'll see there's no gate there. Collisions don't happen yet. We walk up, we enter the chamber, and you'll see the gate magically appears. Now, even though that fade in happens, where the gate fades in, you don't have to worry about the player being able to escape during that time by using their run, because once we flick that switch that PHY active equals true, the player is no longer able to pass through the object regardless of how visible it is. So then basically we'd move up here and you'd see these things. Have to kill those. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 like that. Bang, 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 bang. Z-Bob's trying to kill us. We're running, defending. We've got plenty of room to get around here. So basically, this is how the game's going to play out. Something like that. So, the gate has been spawned. Let's see what we do next. Inside of our start boss collision with the hero, we should actually probably change this to use our questing system. So let's just have a look at quests, NPC Bob object T, because that has something similar in it. I think in the step event we did something similar. If game state.switches yeah, we'll do something like this. So in our game state object, create initialize ivars, let's add a new switch. We're going to call this boss room entered. Did I spell that right? E-N-T-E-R-E-D. I think I spelled that right. Equals false. There we go. So I'm going to set boss room entered to false. Then when we collide, so in the object start boss collision with hero, instead of going phy active equals true, which I'm still going to do, I'm going to say switches. Actually, I'm going to say game state dot switches boss room entered equals true, and this is going to be the trigger which starts that fade in process. So we're going to need to do the same thing here. We're going to copy how that works like that. So the physics become enabled. The boss room entered variable becomes true. Yeah, that should work. That should work fine. We'll get rid of this debug message here. And if we jump back into our gate, we're going to go into the step event, and we're going to replace that phy active with if boss room entered equals true, then we'll do our linear interpolation. Just like that. So now we're using the questing system, and it's part of the game state, which basically means if the player enters and saves their game, when we eventually handle save games and things like that, and they save the game here, when the game starts again, the gate should already be visible and physics enabled.